Boa noite, olá todo mundo. Hello everybody. Welcome to another amazing VanHack webinar. I'm here with Jordan Chan, who is a technical recruiter at Appnovation. We're actually at the Appnovation office right now, and we're going to talk a little bit about Appnovation, some of their positions, what it's like working with them. But before that, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear and see me. Some people saying that they have good sound. Someone said that there wasn't good sound. If you could just say, yes, I can hear you, we'll be able to go on with more confidence. So you can just write in the chat box that you can hear us or not. Please do that. So that usually takes a little bit of time. Cool. It looks like it's working from my end, so we'll just keep going. Yes, I can hear you. Okay, there it is. Perfect. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Good to see everybody here. So, hi, Jordan. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Very happy to have you too. I'm sure everyone's happy to see you. If you guys want to say hi to Jordan, you can say in the chat. But let's get right into it. So, Appnovation Technologies. What are you guys? Maybe talk a little background on the company, what you guys do, and we'll get more into kind of what you're looking for after that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Appnovation Technologies is just over 8 years old now. We are a global professional services company. So everything that we do here, we do for third-party clients. So clients come to us, and then we build solutions for them. And we specialize in using open source technologies. So we specialize primarily in Drupal, Alfresco, and Mulesoft development.
Cool. Quickly, I just want to say, any Drupal developers on the line, if you're a Drupal developer or a Mulesoft developer, just say hi to us here. It'd be cool to know that. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. I just
not a problem. So yeah, we specialize primarily in Drupal, Alfresco, and Mulesoft development. Right now, 60% of our business is still Drupal development, and then I would say Mulesoft is probably another 25%, and then the remaining is anything from doing mobile apps to design. We're sort of a one-stop shop for all our clients. The company is headquartered here in Vancouver. We have about 85 now full-time employees in our Vancouver office, but we also have 5 other offices globally. So we have an office in Montreal, also in Canada, in St. John, again in Canada. We have one in the UK, just outside of London. We have an office in Wales. We have an office in Hong Kong, and then we have a few sort of satellite offices in the US where we have a lot of our sales guys, as well as some remote developers.
Wow, it's pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. So let's get into the technologies a little bit more. So you said there's Mulesoft, there's Espresso,
Alfresco.
Alfresco. I haven't heard about that one before. Alfresco, and then Mulesoft. So maybe we can kind of talk about each one and the kind of things you guys are looking for in a candidate.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not. I can't quite read to see if there's any Drupal and Mulesoft developers in there right now.
A couple of people said
yes.
But
for those of you who don't know, Drupal is a CMS platform similar to WordPress and things like that, but it's open source, and we do a lot of custom Drupal development for our clients. So the type of clients we work with are mostly enterprise level clients. Our biggest client is Pfizer. It's a huge pharmaceutical company based out of the US. They're responsible for sort of manufacturing and distributing drugs like Tylenol and Advil. We've done over, I think we're at on track now, 120 with them, and we'll send our developers on site to work at some Pfizer locations, or they'll just outsource all of the development to us to do. So for us, I know for those of you who do know Drupal, there's a lot of sort of older websites that are maintained and built on Drupal. We are partnered with Acquia, who are the founders of Drupal. They kick us a lot of business, and the stuff that we do with Acquia and with clients like Pfizer is a lot of custom Drupal development. So we don't do a lot of work that requires maintenance or sort of bug fixing. Everything that we do with Drupal is custom module development. And those are the type of developers that we look for typically, are ones who have had experience doing that or have also contributed modules back to the Drupal community. We're a big player in the Drupal developer community. Mulesoft is again, an open source sort of integration tool, loosely based off of Java. So if you're a really strong Java engineer who's had a little bit of experience with Mule, that's what we're looking for as well. I think Mulesoft itself is only a few years old. But the good thing about Mulesoft is it's an integration tool and it'll work with any technology stack. So why that's sort of blowing up for us in the business is, if I don't know if there's many .NET developers out there, but if you were a big organization, say like ours, have 200 employees and make a website or make some sort of product, and your whole tech stack is in Microsoft.NET. Typically, whenever you want to update or change your pages, you'll have to rely on the newest update from Microsoft and have to use that .NET framework to continue to build your websites. The best thing about Mulesoft is, because it integrates with all your tech site, you don't have that technical debt. So lots of enterprise level organizations who have sort of an older tech base who are wanting to maybe just update or refresh one brand of their portfolio, if you're integrated with Mulesoft, you're able to do that a lot quicker and a lot cheaper than having to do everything with, say, .NET or I don't know if you are guys familiar with like Sitecore, some of the older sort of technologies, stuff like that.
Interesting. Cool. And what's the other one, Alfresco?
Yeah, Alfresco is sort of an open source content or data management system. We actually don't do a ton of work with it. We actually only have 2 Alfresco developers at the company, but that's the developers we do hire for Alfresco, mostly for our internal purposes. There's very few clients that actually use us to develop for that.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So mostly Drupal and MuleSoft developers.
Yeah.
Great. So why should I come work for Appnovation?
Yeah, good question. If you're a Drupal developer, like I mentioned earlier, we are a huge contributor back to the Drupal.org community. We are a big player at DrupalCon. We're the 2nd largest Drupal shop in North America.
Wow.
And the type of stuff that we do, like I said, is a lot of custom Drupal development. So there's lots of opportunities for you to grow and learn a lot of new things in Drupal. Versus some of the other shops, like I said, they'll get sort of smaller clients and will do website refreshes or just doing maintenance and bug fixing in Drupal. And that's something that we pretty much never do as an organization. For MuleSoft, again, it's a sort of upcoming and it's a niche market. We are also platinum partners with MuleSoft itself as well. So they often keep us a lot of business or will partner with us for clients as well. So again, we work on some pretty cool things with MuleSoft. We train our senior Java engineers to learn MuleSoft, and we'll help them get MuleSoft certified as well. So you have that certification. So in terms of a development standpoint, the type of problems and challenges you'll encounter are pretty unique and pretty cool to the open source community. As a company as a whole, we're about 170 full-time employees right now, like I said, spanning sort of 4 time zones, 4 different countries. There's lots of opportunity for growth within the organization. We operate very much like a startup company. So this company was actually founded by our CEO, Arnold Leung, when he was 22. So he graduated locally from the university here in Vancouver, hired a few of his friends from class, and they started this company actually responding to Craigslist ads, which was, I don't know if you guys have Craigslist down there, but it's essentially, it's almost like an online newspaper classified ad section. And they would just respond to people looking for like, hey, I need help building a website or looking to build a app. And then 8 years later now, we're sort of partnered with the top sort of open source technology companies in the world, and and do over 30 million in revenue a year, 170 employees. But we still have that sort of startup mentality. So everybody has complete control and autonomy of their own role. There isn't a lot of time checking or anything like that. We have an open concept. We'll try to show you the office later, but there's no cubicles. Everybody sits together on large pods with their team. We have work from home options. We have a pool table, foosball table, darts, ping pong table. We have a beer keg. I don't know if there's any drinkers out there, but people like their beer here in Canada. And so we make sure we have that for our developers. We have quarterly events. And yeah, we have the opportunity for people to go on site and travel a lot if that's something that you're interested in. And we also make sure that we send our developers to lots of networking events and things like that.
Awesome, awesome. Cool. So someone asked here, how's the market for Drupal developers in Canada? So I think we can maybe talk about like how much demand you guys have for Drupal developers. Like how many Drupal developers are you looking to hire, and what kind of talk to you about before what kind of people are you looking for? What level do you want people to be at?
Yeah, good question. So for us, like I said, we're definitely the biggest one in Vancouver. Definitely biggest in Canada. Like I said, number 2 in sort of North America. So we at the moment are always on the hunt for senior Drupal developers. We sort of have a rolling headcount. So if I can find 5, we'll hire 5. If I can find 10, we'll hire 10. So for that, it's just there's no shortage at the moment for that. We actually don't do a ton of work in Canada itself. Most of the clients that we have are in the US. Like I said, we sort of work with enterprise level clients, and so it's usually often done at their headquarters, which are again often in the US or in London. That's our next biggest market. In terms of, so you want to know what we look for in Drupal developers? Yeah. So if you've done a lot of custom Drupal development or module development, that's sort of the first thing we look at. We also look at, have you contributed back to the Drupal community, and are you known within that? So again, we can check that through Drupal.org or even sort of your GitHub and Stack Overflow accounts. You guys have those as well. Other than that, because we are a pure professional services company, what sort of distinguishes an intermediate developer from a senior developer here at Appnovation is we only build things with clients. So our senior developers must be able to communicate externally and be able to communicate with clients. So give them updates on progress. If there is a challenge or a problem, again, be able to articulate that back to often non-technical people. And for us, that's sort of the biggest distinction that we find a lot of developers here in North America, or that's a gap and a skill that is missing.
Cool. So I'll just kind of quickly say in Portuguese. Sim, se você não está entendendo o que a gente está falando aqui, por favor, entre numa aula de inglês. Eu estou vendo aqui o Thiago falando que ele não consegue acompanhar o webinar. Inglês é muito importante para vocês trabalhar no Canadá. Claro, se eu estava indo para Canadá, para o Brasil, sem português é difícil achar emprego. Então, vão aprender inglês, pessoal. A VanHack Premium pode te ajudar com isso. Temos 2 horas de prática de inglês por semana. Então, só queria dar recomendação nisso. Acho que é bem óbvio que o inglês é muito importante. E quando a gente sempre fala, your English is always getting better. Mas fique tranquilo e fica aprendendo inglês. Acho que é muito importante. Okay, cool. So some questions here about, do you guys plan to use Drupal 8 in the near future? And someone else, sorry, before that asked about Mule Enterprise for community. Actually, let's start with that one. So Lucas asked about Mule Enterprise. Do you use that?
Yes, we do for some of our clients.
Cool, great, thanks. And
then the next one, so is Drupal 8.
Yeah.
So as you know, Drupal 8 is fairly new. We have trained a lot of our seniors in Drupal 8. It really, again, depends on the client. We've had a few clients who have asked us to build things in Drupal 8, and so we are. But we expect sort of within the next 6 months to a year, that's probably going to be a pretty big thing that we're going to be doing. Is a lot of our clients will now will want that upgrade to Drupal 8.
Nice. And just we're going to get into more stuff here, but I just want to say, if anybody who actually wants to come work here at Appnovation, I'm just going to put this link there. This is the Appnovation careers page. So I just going to put that into the webinar chat and broadcast it for you guys. So just go to appnovation.com/careers, apply to a position there, and put VanHack in brackets after your last name. So I'll just write it here like this, VanHack like this after your last name. That way Jordan knows that you guys came from this webinar, and that he can give a little more special attention to your application. Yep. So Alexander here says, I'm definitely the professional he was looking for. That's fantastic, Alexander. If you could apply for the position and also send me an email, just so I know, like I could check that out. That'd be great. And someone asked here, they work for Appnovation company already, like a vendor of yours, a third party. So can you explain about that? I think it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So because again, we're in the professional services community, we will get a lot of business from our partners. A lot of people will ping us from our website and through our SEO about new opportunities. And if we have the opportunity to help them out with some of the things that we do. Typically, we won't, as a company, work on any projects that are less than $50,000 in revenue. And so when those opportunities come, sometimes what we'll do is we have a lot of partners ourselves and vendors who will kick that opportunity out to and have them deliver on that project. We will also, on the flip side, say we win a project that is multi-million dollars and it will require 50 developers. Oftentimes our developers are working on 3 to 5 projects for 3 to 5 different clients. So if that opportunity were to come in and we don't have enough availability from our current staff, then we will also, again, hire or look for hiring contractors, or again, use a vendor that we've partnered with to help and assist us in some of that development as well.
Cool. So what happens though if someone is working for a vendor and they want to work for you?
Good question. So unfortunately, if you are working for one of Appnovation's vendors, we have signed non-solicit and non-competes with those clients. So unfortunately, if you are working for them, we cannot hire you. If you were to leave that company and say work for another company for longer than 6 months, then you're sort of fair game, and then that non-compete and non-solicit is over. But if you are working for one of our vendors currently, unfortunately I can't hire you at this point in time.
Cool. That's good to know. So if anyone really wants to work here and is working for a vendor company, get another job for 6 months.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, it might be worth it. But that's that. Jordan didn't say that. I said that. For anyone who's watching from a vendor company, Jordan did not say that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Don't want to get in trouble. Cool. So maybe another question here about Java and C#. Some people asked about that. Do you guys look for other technology stacks as well, and kind of maybe someone's really good Java developer? Would you consider hiring them? Is that something that you're open to as well?
We would for Java, just because Mule is so close to Java. Unfortunately, C# not so much. And then for Drupal, it's unfortunately, again, it's pretty specific. It's only Drupal. If you're like a very senior PHP developer who has done some things in Drupal, we would definitely look at you. But again, we're still looking for some guys who've had a lot of experience with Drupal. So you might be maybe a senior PHP developer, have done a few projects in Drupal only. Chances are, if we do hire you, it wouldn't be at a senior level, because we need some pretty impressive skills with Drupal. So cool. Talking about senior intermediate, there's a question here about salary.
We'll talk a little bit about that, give some salary ranges. That might help with some motivation.
Yeah, I could give some loose salary bands, and I don't know. I have no idea how this translates to Brazilian dollars.
It's like 3 times more.
Okay. Okay. So for a intermediate Drupal developer, the salary will be anywhere from 55,000 Canadian all the way up to sort of 65. And then for senior, again, the range will be anywhere from sort of 65, 70,000 all the way to could be 120 Canadian, depending on skill level and seniority.
Cool, cool. Não sei em português. Okay. Só para vocês entenderem o que ele falou, eu queria deixar esse ponto bem claro. Se você é um programador sênior com Drupal, Mulesoft, você pode ganhar até $120 mil por ano. Isso é mais de quase 300 mil reais por ano. Então, acho que é um salário bem legal. E, sim, sim, é muito bom. Dá para viver muito bem aqui no Canadá. Speaking of that, okay, I guess that is what about the LMA process? Like, are you open to hire people from abroad?
Yep, good question. So we are open to hiring people from abroad. We've actually sponsored somebody who is from Brazil, and it's a long process. It took us over 6 months to get her here, but she actually started working in the Vancouver office last week. So we're super excited. Again, she was a very sort of senior Drupal developer, and so typically we will only sponsor and do the LMIAs for seniors. We won't do that for intermediates.
Cool, but could they potentially work remotely, intermediate?
Good question. Yeah. So we do have a lot of remote developers as well. So if you are an intermediate Drupal developer or an intermediate Mulesoft developer, we could hire you and have you work remote as well. Luckily, your time zone isn't too bad. I think the 4 hours ahead. Yeah. So that actually coincides with our Montreal office very well. So the East Coast time zone is 3 hours ahead of the West Coast time zone, and we actually have a ton of clients that are in the Eastern time zone. So if we were to hire you, then the hours actually wouldn't be too bad for you. But I can give you an example. We've hired a developer in Hong Kong, and when he started, we didn't have a physical office there, and he was assigned to North American projects. So for him, he had to work pretty early in his day. But on the plus side, he had two young kids, so he works from home as much or as little as he wants. And so for him, he was up at odd hours at night anyways with his wife, so he's just now coding as well.
Cool. That's great. So that's fantastic. If you guys are senior developers, there's definitely a very, very, very strong possibility of you guys being able to move to Canada and work with Appnovation. And then if you're intermediate, then get hired remotely and be making Canadian dollars and living in Brazil. So that's a big plus too. Okay, cool. So Richardson says he has 3 certifications in Java. That's fantastic. That's great stuff. If you guys know Java, I would definitely recommend you apply to the Mulesoft post. You can see there at appnovation.com/careers. Yeah, so Breno, seems like you have some experience too with WordPress plugins. 15 years. I mean, we can go kind of into more specific things. I think that your skills will be definitely in demand in the market as a whole, but maybe not so much for Appnovation since you don't have so much experience with Drupal from what I'm seeing, or Mulesoft, but that's okay. I guess Java. So yeah, Brandon, if you work with Java, definitely apply that to Appnovation. Great. What I was thinking we could do now is maybe a quick loop of the office to show you guys what it's like to work here at Appnovation, and then we'll finish off with some more questions from everybody here. If you guys are enjoying, maybe say like, yes, this is cool. That makes things better because it feels like we're just 2 guys in a room talking to each other. But yeah, let's go for a tour here, and then we'll come back and finish up with the rest of the webinar. Cool. All right, Jordan. So where are we now, and where are we going?
Yeah, so we are in our biggest boardroom here. See, there's lots of natural light that comes in. We have the nice brick
Yeah, the
wallpaper
wall is
here.
really cool.
So this is our biggest boardroom. It's where we have most of our conference calls and where all of our executives have their meetings. Then let's start off.
Some people are saying here they don't see the Java posting on the website. What job should they apply to?
You guys should be applying to the Mulesoft job posting.
Cool, cool. If you are, and then some people are saying that they're enjoying the webinar. That's great. You should apply to the Mulesoft job posting, just to repeat.
So coming out here, and this is our reception area. So we actually have 2 floors within this building, and this is our main floor, and the top floor. And the people who sit up on this floor are the people who would like to say don't make the company any money. So the non-professional services people. So the people like myself in HR.
Hey, when you find someone else make the company money.
That's true, but not directly. So on this floor we have our HR team, our marketing team. All of our executives have their offices up here. Our accounting team is here, and then our internal IT support team. So I can give you a quick tour of what that looks like. So in these 2 offices over here, it's our HR team, and this is Emma McNeil, one of our HR generalists.
How many people do you guys got on the phone?
I think we got like 70 or something like that.
70? Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then coming around here, it's the end of the day, so lots of people are out of the office, but these potter tables on this side is our internal IT team. And then over on this side, it's our vendors and contracts team. So they're the ones who help set up our partnerships with third-party vendors, and as well as they do the majority of the contracting hiring.
Very cool.
Keep walking further. The people that you still see here are our accounting and finance team. You guys want to do a quick wave here real quick?
Hello.
You're talking to only 70 people. So not too bad.
We're recruiting some people to come work here.
And then on this side, we have our marketing team. I guess he's just coming away here. And then the rest of the offices on this side are our VP's offices, which they're already gone for the day. So, and then we'll walk towards the most exciting part of this floor, which is our game room. Fridays, that's where we have our football table here, our dartboard up there.
It's like beer.
We have our pool table here. Our PlayStation 4 here, and we have our decorator right over here.
So who wants some beer? Yeah, the most important part of the tour and the webinar is right there.
And then I can give you a quick tour of our bottom floor. And this is where all of our professional service staff sit. So all of the people at the company who make money for us. So all of our developers, our designers, our business analysts, our project managers, etc.
The real
and our QA team as well. So this is our kitchen. Everybody sort of hangs out at lunch. Yeah, see that all right? See? So sort of the theme of the office is open concept. We wanted to encourage a lot of collaboration and teamwork. So that's why you don't see the cubicles. Here, tables is for our 10 developers, and then for our developers. And then the next pod here is 10 developers, We have our ping pong table.
Nice.
And then developers. And then on this side of the office is just the remainder of our boardrooms and workout rooms. Very cool. And yeah, this is our we're having a pretty nice day here in Vancouver.
Yeah. Cool, guys. What do you guys think? Connection problem, weak signal. Uh-oh. Yeah, let's go back. Yeah. Cool. We'll come back to the good Wi-Fi
area. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Hopefully the Wi-Fi gets better now. Reno said it's pretty awesome. Yeah, I agree. Cool. All right. Okay, we're back. All right, guys, we're back. That was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the quick tour. Seems like some people will definitely love to work at this office. I agree. Someone asked here about the hours, just quickly. Like, what's kind of basic work hours for you guys?
Yep, that's a good question. So for the majority of the staff, the business hours are typically 9 to 5. Again, in your local time zone. If you are on our professional services team, so a developer, BA, QA, depending on how many projects you're assigned to, they usually clock out at sort of 45 hours on average a week. Again, some weeks that might be a little bit more if a project's running into trouble or behind schedule, or it might be a little bit less when a project is just wrapping up and you're not assigned to a new project yet. But on average, it's about a 45-hour work week.
Cool. And they do have some coffee machines. People were asking about that.
Yep.
They just didn't show you. It was in the kitchen. There's coffee machines.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Any other questions, guys? We'll just take the next 10-15 minutes to answer questions, and we'll wrap up. Yeah. So someone asked here about teaching. Do you give opportunities to teach? Could you talk about that? Like, do you guys maybe have education programs for your tech teams? How does that work?
Good question. So if you are a full-time employee at the company, every year you have, or you're eligible for a $1,500, again, in your local currency. So if you're in our Canada office, Canadian dollars. If you're in our UK office, it's British pounds. But it's called a professional development allowance. And within that, you can use that $1,500 for new courses, certifications, or going to conferences. We also have, as a company, it's called the Appno University. So we have our senior guys who are building out courses in certain technologies as well as soft skills. So we have an Appno University course on Drupal 8 that our senior developers created for our internal team. And then people will be able to learn and have work done that way. We also, on that Appno University, have things like a conflict resolution. So how to deal with conflicts when you're talking directly with clients, and the steps that you can use to make sure that the client is understanding your viewpoint without sort of ruining that relationship. So there's a lot of opportunities for growth and learning within the organization.
Cool, that's fantastic. So yeah, guys, for the next 20 minutes, if you can please post your questions here. I see some of you already doing that. Se você tem qualquer dúvida, pode colocar aqui nos comentários, no chat, e a gente vai responder. I think that a couple of you have asked this question about what about the interview process. So actually, what do you need to apply, both in terms of like tech skills and English level, which I've seen in the question here. Like maybe take us through the whole journey, like who you need to be, which we talked a little bit about already, and kind of quickly go over that again. And then afterwards, like what is, when someone's called for an interview, how that whole thing works.
Yeah.
Any tips for people?
Okay, good question. So yeah, like mentioned earlier, so the biggest need right now for the company is Drupal developers and Mulesoft developers. Those are unfortunately the only positions that are on our career site where we're going to sponsor people for, as well as have them work remotely.
Well, I'll just put Java there, I guess.
Yeah, Java for Mulesoft. So the interview processes for our technical position is a phone screen with one of the recruiters, like myself. I wouldn't say it's an overly technical phone screen. It's mostly culture fit, but there are some technical questions in there just to get a quick sense of somebody's capabilities and the type of projects that they've worked on. And then from there, the next step is a online technical test. So we have an online technical test for both Mulesoft and Drupal that the candidate would then need to complete. And those are pretty technical questions that require some pseudocoding. And we send you the link to that, and then the candidates complete that, and then based on the score that you get, our senior developers will mark all of those tests, and then depending on how you score, then the next step of the interview process would be a technical interview with our senior developers, and they would go over the test with that candidate, and again, and ask some further questions if needed. And if that goes well, then the last step is just meeting briefly with the manager of that specific team. And again, that's usually done via Skype.
Cool, awesome.
And that's the entire interview process.
So any tips? How can someone perform well?
Yeah, good question. One thing that lots of candidates don't do that always surprises me is they never have an understanding of what the company does. They don't bother to take time in reading the website and get a good understanding of what we do as a company, and even some of the clients that we work with. Again, I used Pfizer earlier as an example, big pharmaceutical company. So if you were a developer, again, say Drupal or Mulesoft, and you've worked on maybe a website project for a pharmaceutical company before, that would be something that you should be bringing up in the interview. So I'm aware, and that's again, you have to do your research in order to know that that's one of our clients. But if you do that, that's a huge bonus checkpoint for someone like myself, because now we know, hey, you're familiar with our tech stack, but now you're also familiar with the type of clients and the type of product that we work with. And so now I can talk to you about that. So things like that are extremely important that a lot of candidates don't take the time to do. Other than that, again, because these are very technical positions, it's really brushing up on your technical skills, because the next part is going to be a technical test. So I know some people have a bit of a hard time sort of pseudocoding. It's not something in your norm. It can be a little nerve-wracking. So it's just, again, sort of getting yourself into that mindset. You could always do some practice sort of tests online. For those of you that are our Drupal developers, our test is based similar to an Acquia certification test. So if you're familiar with Acquia and their online courses, then that would be a great sort of brush up. Mulesoft, we're not that intense with them. You don't have to be Mule certified to work here at Appnovation. But again, it's sort of, if you are a senior Java developer who hasn't had any experience with Mulesoft yet, it might be a good idea to, prior to the interview and prior to that technical test, is going online, doing your research on Mulesoft, and again, trying to play around with that prior to the interview.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Thanks for that. So I hope you guys got some of those tips. I think it's really important to underscore. Do your homework on the company, and this goes for any company you're applying to, but definitely do your homework. A Aprende o máximo que você pode sobre a empresa que você está aplicando e mostre que você conhece algo sobre essa empresa. Isso vai ajudar bastante. All right, cool. Let's some more questions here. A couple of people asked about part-time jobs as international students. Do you guys hire any kind of part-time co-op or maybe like entry-level positions? Is that something possible at all?
Yeah, good question. So we do hire co-op students, but they're only local here in Vancouver. We're part of the Vancouver co-op, so we pay money to be sort of advertised at local universities here. And so we support the sort of local co-op programs. Unfortunately, for co-ops and for juniors, you're going to need a lot of mentorship and training, and we can't do that remote. It just doesn't set the candidate up for success, having somebody try and train them remotely.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, we don't do that.
Yeah, but if you're in Vancouver.
But if you're in Vancouver, then yes, absolutely. And in terms of part-time work, like I said, we do hire contractors, and so we do hire part-time contractors. Like sometimes we might need a contractor for 20 hours a week for a month. In which case, then we'll do that. But other than that, there's no sort of set part-time hours where it'll be like, here's 10 hours worth of work for a full year.
Cool. Yeah, that's good to know. So Antonia says here he's a Java, OpenEdge, C# developer who learned PHP in 1 week. Does he have any chance to apply?
I mean, if you learn PHP in a week, then I'm hoping you can learn Drupal in a week too. and if you can, then we would love to sort of see that. So if you have like a GitHub account or Stack Overflow where you can show us some of your work, or even if you have your own website and you can just link us to some portfolio stuff that you've done, then yes, absolutely, because then our developers will actually go there first and then take a look at your source code to see. And then from there, it's sort of their judgment call. I don't know, I'm not super technical myself, so I wouldn't be able to do that, but yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt, it's worth applying, Antonio, you never know.
Exactly.
And Marina, they don't have a Toronto office. It's just Montreal, right?
Yes, correct.
Cool. All right, so any other questions here? Lucas is asking how I can apply properly for a Mulesoft development position. I'm guessing just, appnovation.com/careers,
yep.
right?
Just click on the Mulesoft job posting, and then it'll ask you to upload your resume and your cover letter. And then once you do, then it goes through our applicant tracking system, and then it gets sent to the recruiter in charge of that position.
Cool. Which is, I guess, you? Or?
I actually don't do any Mulesoft recruitment myself. My colleague in the Vancouver office does all the Mulesoft recruitment. I'm responsible for Drupal and pretty much every other North American and Hong Kong role.
All right, yeah, so Lucas, apply on that website. I'll just post it here again for you. And make sure you put VanHack in brackets at the end of your last name so you can track that. Someone's asking if you guys use Linux, Mac, or Windows.
Yep, good question. So we're, again, following that open source theme. Everything is Linux based. If you're a full-time employee at Appnovation, you're given a MacBook Air to work on. So everybody uses MacBook Air. We don't use any Microsoft products. We don't use Outlook. Everything's sort of Gmail. Gmail here, yeah.
Cool, that's good to know. All right, guys, any last questions here? I hope this was helpful. We have some awesome developers with us. Yeah. Oh, actually, a good question here is, do you need to have a university degree in order to get a job?
Nope, that is absolutely not necessary. Personally, again, I'm not speaking on Appnovation, but just from a personal standpoint, I've recruited for a few other tech companies before, and in my opinion, the developers who are self-taught tend to be a little bit better. You guys are used to sort of thinking outside the box. When you're learning how to program and you self-taught, you're going to encounter way more problems, and there's no one else to rely on. You have to fix them yourself. So in my opinion, you guys are a lot better at debugging. Can sometimes code a little bit cowboy style, so maybe not entirely best practices, but I think you guys are sort of very critical thinkers and think outside and very strategic. So that's my opinion. But yeah, we definitely don't. You don't need a degree to work here.
Yeah, fantastic news. So yeah, if you're self-taught, definitely don't be shy and apply. Bruno asked about English level. So you talked about developers needing to communicate with clients. How's that English level? Is that something you guys test for? What's kind of like, what was an anecdote you can say about English level?
Yeah, there's no sort of testing involved in terms of English level. Because we are professional services, that part is extremely important. So you have to be able to consider to be a senior, be able to talk non-technical. So explain something you've done to, again, a non-technical person, because oftentimes the people that you're dealing with on the client side will be the VP of marketing or VP of sales. It's hardly ever the CTO or another sort of senior developer. So we don't test on sort of English per se. It's, again, during the conversations that you would have with myself and through our tech leads and our hiring managers, if we can't understand clearly what you're trying to say, that's basically what we use as a benchmark for whether or not the communication skills are strong enough for us.
Cool, yeah, it's just a natural thing that comes up in the interview.
Yeah.
So, novamente, pessoal, melhore seu inglês, isso vai ser uma das coisas mais importantes para vocês acharem emprego aqui no Canadá.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool, guys. A couple more minutes here. Maybe we'll take three or four more questions. Se vocês têm qualquer dúvida sobre como trabalhar aqui, como aplicar, if you have any questions, please take the time now to ask. If not, we'll wrap it up. But yeah, please, I guess the last thing I'll say is don't be shy and apply. If you have the skills that if you think you have the skills, whether that's Java, Mulesoft, or Drupal, especially if you're intermediate to senior, you have a very, very good chance of getting a job here. And the beautiful thing about Appnovation is that they do sponsor visas. So that means you and your entire family will be able to come here and work on location either in Montreal or in Vancouver. So Leonardo Brito's asking about what frameworks are more common. Well, most common, I guess, is better to say. What do you mean by that? Like, what do you understand? What frameworks are most common? I guess is Drupal, right?
For our company, yeah, it's going to be sort of Drupal or Mulesoft.
Yeah.
In Vancouver, it's going to vary quite a bit, company to company.
Yeah. So Leo, I think you mean like in Canada or Vancouver overall. Yeah, there's no one perfect framework. So yeah, just get really good at something, and you'll get a job. Mule Cloud, is that an experience necessary or mandatory?
No, that's more nice to have.
Cool. Lucas, seems like you are a good Mulesoft developer. You're asking some smart questions. I definitely recommend you to apply. That's really great. All right, and maybe a couple more questions, guys. We're here to help. All right, cool. Marcel's asking about with a basic level of English, this could not be something reasonable. I'm willing to work in the all right, so Marcelo, yeah, you definitely improve your level of English as much as possible. I'm not sure what level of English you have, but the better your English is, the more higher chance you have of getting a job in Canada overall and Appnovation specifically. Great that you're going to apply. Yeah, Lucas, great that you're going to apply. Leonardo, yes, unfortunately, you can't qualify since you're already a contractor. But maybe you can work for the company for 6 months. I don't know. I don't want to influence that. That's definitely up to you. But who knows? All right, so Anderson asked a question about Canada, which language is more common? I think Java is probably the most common language in Canada overall. There's 13,000 job opportunities in Canada in Java today, with, I would say, probably .NET and PHP coming kind of second and third. But you can just go to indeed.com or ca.indeed.com, and then you can see all the job opportunities and you see exactly which programming language has the most jobs. But if you can code in all three, then apply to jobs with all those programming languages. Cool. Any other questions, guys? I'm curious to see, guys, if you have applied or if you will apply to a job at Appnovation, can you maybe just write that in the chat, just so we have a feeling of what people are kind of thinking or feeling. So if you have applied or you will apply to Appnovation, just say yes in the chat. Okay, certifications. Yeah, so a good question about certifications. What do you guys look for any specific certifications? Is that something that's important to you guys?
Yeah, so if you are a Acquia certified developer for Drupal, then that's definitely a huge bonus. And for Mulesoft as well, huge bonus. Like I said, if you don't have that, you'll get that training here. So it's not a huge deal breaker per se, but again, if you're a very senior developer, then we would sort of expect you to have completed that.
Cool, cool. Someone's asking about beginner Drupal developers. I can answer that.
Yeah, unfortunately, just as I mentioned sort of earlier, for any sort of junior position, it's very hard to get that mentorship and training being a remote employee, and so we will normally hire juniors locally here in Vancouver, and actually the majority of almost 90% of our junior positions are filled by our co-op students, so our intern students.
Cool. Bruno's asking about a final date to apply. I guess there's not. Apply as soon as possible, and there's no limit too. So if you have friends who are Drupal developers, intermediates, or senior, or MuleSoft developers, encourage them to apply as well. Appnovation is trying to hire as many developers as possible with the skills that they're looking for. So tell your friends. Yeah. Cool. Front-end developer positions. So I'm just asking about that.
Yeah. At the moment, we don't. You'll notice that there is one on our website that we've already sent out an offer to, and we're expecting an acceptance. So at the moment, no. If that person declines, then potentially yes. But then you also see there's another sort of web designer position on our website, and that's actually just for visa purposes. So we already have someone who we've hired. We just, as part of the visa process here for Canada, we need to advertise it for X amount of days on a number of different sites. So unfortunately, that position is not a real position that we have a need for at the moment.
Cool. So Drupal, MuleSoft, Java, apply. If you're intermediate or senior, you have a very strong chance of getting hired and getting your LMIA process done. Yeah. So if you are, if you have those skills, definitely apply and put VanHack in the end of your last name in brackets, so we know that you've applied through us. And I guess we have a couple more minutes. I guess, yeah. Quickly, haven't you just stayed at the company for 6 months? No, Adriano, you don't. That's only if you are working for a contractor. So if you're not working for a contractor of Appnovation, then you can apply and you will totally do the interview process and you can get hired. That exception of 6 months is only if you're working for a vendor or someone who gives the services for Appnovation. Cool. So Adriano, if you work for a company that has nothing to do with Appnovation, then definitely apply, and we look forward to your application. So I guess I'll kind of leave the last word to Jordan. Yeah, if you can kind of give me one last tip or thing to say about Appnovation for everybody before we wrap up.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks everybody for logging on today. Hope I provided you a lot of value. I know at Appnovation we're looking for very specific technologies, so my apologies for people who don't have those. But like Ilya mentioned, we will sponsor people. We have sponsored lots of people, and we will hire people remotely. It's a pretty fantastic company to work for, and yeah, would love to see some applications come through.
Cool. I just want to last questions. Eduardo just asked about Java developers. Can you maybe clear that up? Like, if the person doesn't have any Mulesoft experience, is that an issue? But if they're like a senior Java developer, what's kind of how do you judge that?
Again, so if you're a senior Java developer who doesn't have any Mulesoft experience, I would recommend that you play around with Mulesoft and learn a little bit about it. We will look at your application as a whole to see if we think you're a good fit. But like I said, if you're a senior Java with no Mule, I would recommend you don't apply immediately. I would recommend that you play around with Mulesoft, maybe build something quickly with it, and then add that to your resume before applying.
Cool, that's great. And we have a lot of Java developers that want to know that, so we'll get the word out to them. All right, guys. So yes, we are out of time. Just want to be respectful of Jordan's time. Here in Canada, things are very precise. Yeah. So yeah, thanks everybody for participating. Really appreciate you being here with us. Thanks Alexandra, thanks Guilherme for saying thank you. Thanks Antonio. And if you guys have any questions at all, I guess maybe can they reach out to you? Is that something that's
sure?
Open to?
Yep, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Jordan Chan, or even after Ilya, you can just
yeah, I'll email your
pass my email address as well.
Cool. Yeah, I'll pass your email because computers people hang out. I'll make sure to share Jordan's contact information in the follow-up email to this webinar with his LinkedIn and his email address, as well as the website, again, appnovation.com/careers, where you can apply to Appnovation. And I guess last question is, how long should people expect to like be getting contact? Like 1 week, 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's gonna, to be honest, it's gonna vary. But we'll get back to you within 2 weeks at the absolute latest. But because we do get quite a lot of applications, if you're not responded to, we can unfortunately only respond to people who we think are going to be a good fit based off your resume.
Cool. So yeah, if you don't hear from them after 2 weeks, it means you weren't selected, unfortunately. But if you are fit, you'll get a request for an interview, or invitation, I should say, for an interview in about 2 weeks. So just so you guys have that in your minds. Learn as much Mulesoft as possible. If you're a Java developer, if you're a Drupal developer, intermediate or senior, definitely apply. And yeah, good luck to all of you guys. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be sharing Jordan's contact information as well. I ask you, please be respectful. Don't send Jordan irrelevant emails. That would just be rude. So please don't do that. But if you are kind of fitting into the criteria that we are looking for, then go ahead and reach out to him on LinkedIn or via email if it's something very, very important. Yeah. Again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks again for being here. Muito obrigado, pessoal. I guess the last thing I should say, kind of wrapping up, is we are closing VanHack Premium sales on Sunday. So if you are interested in helping all the services of VanHack Premium with your resume editing, all the creation of your Canadian profile, vou falar em português. A gente está fechando as vagas do VanHack Premium para novos membros até domingo. Então, se você tem interesse de entrar no VanHack Premium para ter toda a nossa ajuda de apresentar você para as empresas igual Appnovation e outras, ajuda com seu currículo, ajuda com seu cover letter, seu profile de LinkedIn, claro, acesso limitado ao nosso time, toda a informação que você precisa ter para vir para cá, inclusive informação sobre faculdade, informação sobre inglês. Temos 2 horas de prática de entrevista, então se você está precisando melhorar seu inglês, a gente faz isso também, tudo nos conteúdos está em inglês. Enfim, vocês podem entrar no vanhack.com/premium para ver mais informação sobre isso, mas está aberto somente até domingo à meia-noite. Então, isso é uma coisa que eu queria deixar com vocês. E também temos nosso Van Hackathon chegando no dia 20, 21 e 22 de maio. Então, se vocês querem mostrar suas habilidades para empresas no Canadá, vocês vão poder fazer isso no Van Hackathon e entrar no Van Hack Pro para fazer isso. Eu vou colocar aqui também o link para você já fazer a inscrição para o Van Hackathon. O custo é bem em conta, é somente $10 por mês para entrar no Van Hack Pro e ter acesso ao Hackathon. Também te ajuda a ter acesso ao nosso fórum e um curso de vídeos que mostra para você como criar um perfil canadense. Enfim, é isso, pessoal. Se vocês têm qualquer outras dúvidas, pode entrar em contato comigo. E vou mandar um e-mail agora, dando mais informação sobre como aplicar para a Appnovation. Ok, valeu. Cool. All right, Jordan. Thanks again.
Thanks, everybody.
Sorry. Last thing, we have another webinar tomorrow about one of our Van Hack Premium members who got the LMA process with a local Vancouver startup named Samuel. So if you guys want to check out how to get the LMIA, how to get the sponsor, como ganhar o sponsor de uma empresa, tomorrow, same time, 21 horas, 9 p.m. Brasilia time will be broadcasting again. So hope to see you guys again in 24 hours on that webinar. Again, thank you so much, Jordan. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And this is the end of a very long end to a webinar, but we'll be seeing you guys shortly. Okay.
Thanks.